Welcome to Loon's Leaves, y'all. Today we're doing a Pinterest versus TikTok planter hack. Alrighty, y'all, so it's a little rainy outside today. It feels kind of dreary, and I'm just in a crafting kind of mood. So I have been looking at Pinterest boards for the past few months, looking at different planters that are really trending right now, as well as seeing a lot of stuff via TikTok on Instagram. I'm not personally on TikTok, nor do I make TikToks, but I have been seeing a lot of them through Instagram, and there's some really good ideas out there for affordable planters that look high-end or are dupes for designer planters and things like that. So I'm going to be doing two different hacks today. One is a TikTok hack, and that is to turn any sort of glass or ceramic vessel into something that looks like stoneware ceramic or concrete. And this is one that I tried to do. You can see the remnants of the soil in there from a previous plant. This was one that I tried to do during quarantine when we were really in the heat of it last April, with the hack from TikTok where you mix baking powder and acrylic paint together. And when it dries down to this kind of like stone looking matte paint with a little bit of texture in there. So I thought this looked really nice for something that you were trying to mimic the cement planter look, which is really, really trending right now for centerpieces. So I'm gonna attempt it again. I'm not real happy with the way this turned out just because there's some flaking. I don't think I exactly did it right. And I think I can push it a step further by adding some different colored flecks with an old toothbrush or paintbrush to kind of flick some dimension on there, make it look more like stone or concrete. So I'm going to be trying that hack again today, as well as one that I've seen on Pinterest. I don't know the designer's name that came up with this type of planter, or if it's just a traditional style planter. I will have the information on the screen somewhere, but it's where you take, and I'll put pictures up now, it's this spotted planter that has like a 3D element to it that creates a lot of texture. And so I'm going to be mimicking that today with a dollar store vase or little bowl here that's glass, and some of the dollar store little marbles. These are not rounded marbles, they are like a flat stone. Not sure if you can see them through there. So I'm going to be gluing those onto this glassware and then painting it to make it look like that designer dupe. So this hack's from Pinterest, this hack is from TikTok, and I've purchased mostly everything from the dollar store, sans the stuff that I already had lying around. Like these paintbrushes I already had laying around. I might be spray painting this black or white, in which case I have both spray paints laying around from old projects, and I have a couple of tubes of the acrylic paint laying around from old projects. However, you can purchase all of this supplies at the dollar store, including the acrylic paint. They now sell small bottles of it, so it is very affordable DIY. Before I get into what I'm going to be painting with which hack, I do want to talk about some of the products that the dollar store is carrying right now specifically that I didn't get to mention in my last dollar store Walmart kind of spring planter plant product haul because they didn't have them in stock at the time. And that is these little terrarium hangers. These are plastic, they're $1, they're from the dollar store by the Floral Garden brand. And I just think these are really great quality and look way more expensive than they are. They didn't have them in stock last time, so I picked up 2 of them when I was at the dollar store this past week. And I kind of wish I picked up 3 because if you haven't noticed, there's a giant gap here where my modular herb garden was. That has since not worked out, and I'll have an updated review on that in a bit. But I kind of want to hang a few of these, I think, up here with some air plant situation going on. Another product that I saw that I have never ever seen before is this cloche. So it's a little plastic cloche. This part is plastic as well as the bottom here. And it's a small cloche, but cloches can be very, very expensive. The one behind me here was a gift from my parents for Christmas, and I believe it cost them around $60 for the base and then the glass cloche, if not more than that. It's retailed on Terrain if you're interested. And I have this cloche here from IKEA. This is a very affordable glass cloche, so this is actual glass and actual wood. However, since I put this small kokedama with an asparagus fern inside, the moisture has made the wood swell and I can no longer get these two pieces separated. So I'm not really sure how I'll get the kokedama out. It might just live in there forever and we'll hope that it survives. It already looks like it's starting to die because I can't soak it or anything in water because it's stuck in there. So despite the fact that this is a very affordable $7 cloche, I can't get it open. So maybe the plastic $1 route is the way to go. So I might be upcycling this a little bit and making it look more high-end in this video as well. So I'm gonna paint a few different things with the stoneware paint application. I'm going to possibly repaint this bowl. This was a bowl from Walmart from the Pioneer Woman collection, and it was extremely bright and vivid and just didn't fit the aesthetic of our home anymore. And you can see that that paint application really covered up all that color. I'm also going to be painting this very shallow plastic bowl from the dollar store. It's a very good size and I think would be perfect for one of those really trendy moss centerpiece situations. This is also a new product that I haven't seen before. It's meant for, it says garden dish from that floral garden collection. So I'll be painting that with that texture as well. I also have an old candle. So anything you can upcycle, that's really what these hacks are made for. Don't go out and buy something to paint with either one of these techniques. I would try to upcycle what you have. Unless you're really going for a certain shape, then go with the dollar store glassware. It's so affordable. So I might do this. I might save this for a different Pinterest planter hack that I have coming down the road. I also have an old plastic planter too. So we'll see what gets painted and what stays what it is. And then I'm gonna just do this vessel with the flattened marbles and paint that. And I'm also going to take the base of the dollar store cloche and I think I'm going to spray paint it with that matte black or matte white spray paint just to level it up a little bit, because this part looks pretty high-end once I get the sticker off. You can't really tell that it's a plastic from far away. This, however, looks a little bit cheaper just because it's so shiny. So I'm going to try to level this up a bit as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am going to glue these on camera with a time lapse just so you guys don't have to sit there that long and watch me glue beads on there, but that way you can see the process of what I'm doing. And I'm going to be using the super glue gel. It's the one with the green lid. It comes in a 2-pack from the dollar store. I wouldn't buy it anywhere else just because it's so affordable at the dollar store. I mean, 2 for $1 of the super glue gel. It does come separated, so you don't have to open it until you need it, and the lid does in fact open it. And I use this for everything. It's way better than regular super glue because it doesn't run when you put it on. It's not as liquefied as that other super glue. And it just works out so nicely with holding things on there, especially if you're putting something slippery like one of these flattened marbles onto another slippery surface like this glass. I also, for anybody out there who does fake nails, I occasionally wear fake nails for fancy occasions. We just went somewhere really special this weekend, and so I put some on, and it's like life-changing hack instead of using nail glue, using this. Alrighty, so I'm going to get started with gluing on the marbles to this vessel, and then I will mix up the paint for you guys, and then we'll get to painting everything. All right, so I'm back, and now the entire little dollar store vase is covered in the half marbles. I did stagger them a bit. It might be a little hard to see, so I went down, and then in between on the next line, I kind of went over. I also used like green for one line, then the clear, then the blue to help me differentiate like where I needed to put the half marbles. And you could use this planter just like this. You don't have to paint it or anything like that. In order for me to completely recreate the dupe of the designer one though, I am going to paint it. And also, this is just not really the matching the vibe of our house. But this is a really cute like planter if you have like a beachy coastal kind of vibe to your house, or maybe even like a retro 70s, 60s vibe. This would work out perfectly for that. And I do have quite a few of the little half marbles left. This super glue was about 2/3 of the way empty already. Now it's almost all the way empty. So one of these works out perfectly for that. And yeah, so that worked out great. I'm gonna go paint this or spray this off camera, and I'll come back with my final thoughts in a few minutes or a few hours once it's dry. And right now what I did was I just put a little bit of the baking powder and the paint in here. It says about a teaspoon of paint or a teaspoon of baking powder per a cup of paint. But I found with the first time that I tried this, the more baking powder you use, the more gritty and stone-like it's going to look. So I don't have a 50-50 measurement here. I have probably 1/4 baking powder to 3/4 paint. I'm gonna mix that up and paint this container here for that nice centerpiece look. I am going to make it look more high-end, paint the entire bottom as well as the inside of this vessel, just so that way it looks like an actual stoneware planter, even if it's not filled with plants all the way or fruit or whatever you're choosing to fill it with. So I think it'll look a little bit better than this guy here. Alrighty, so I'm gonna paint off camera and then come back in a few hours to give my final thoughts of everything and show you the updated cloche as well as anything else I decide to kind of upcycle. All right, y'all, I'm back and all the planters are done. They're all mostly dry. Some of them are still a little bit tacky, so I won't be putting the plants in them on camera, but if you follow me on Instagram at Loon's Leaves, you'll get to see photos of them on there. So this I found out is called milk glass. I'm gonna only touch it from the inside because it is still a little bit tacky. And it's like a vintage way of blowing glass, and you put these little kind of like dollops on it when you're blowing the glass, and it's supposed to be translucent. When you hold it up to the light, you're supposed to be able to see a little bit of light through it. So it turned out all right. I think I could have made the dots a little smaller, so maybe instead of gluing on the half marbles, I could have made them with hot glue instead. I just don't think hot glue adheres really well to glass, and I was afraid it was gonna fall off. So maybe some other type of chemical glue would work well for making the little dots on there. I do think it turned out pretty well. There are some mess ups where you can see one of the beads slid, and so some of the glue dried in a weird pattern. There's a couple of spots that just didn't get covered as well with the white spray paint. And I did run out of white spray paint, so it could have used another coat, but it is what it is. Also, a couple of these beads on here are a little bit more oblong than round. So if you're a bit more of a perfectionist, then I would draw on here with a China pencil first, exactly where you want the dots. And then I would pick out the little half marbles that are perfectly round and separate them from the more oblong ones when you go to glue them on. So that way you get everything in a more symmetrical looking pattern and have it be more of a flattering shape. So this is a little quirky, but I'm kind of in love with it. And I really like the way it turned out. And for plus the spray paint, probably around $4 to create a milk glass vintage dupe, I think is really nice. I also finished painting this guy here. He's a little bit more shiny under this lighting than without all the lights on in here, but not as stoneware as I would have expected. I think that's because I painted onto this very slippery plastic, and This guy turned out to be more of a matte. You can see the difference between the two of them here because of the fact that it was already ceramic. So I think this technique definitely works, the TikTok hack of mixing the baking powder with the acrylic paint, but it definitely works better on something that's already ceramic, like an old candle holder, or something that's already glass that you're gonna cover and try to make it look ceramic. So I did, oh no, I already see some of it is still wet. I got a little black paint on this guy here in a couple spots. I'll try to buff that out with a brush in a second here. But I did spray this with a little bit of white paint in a few areas to make it look a little bit more like stone. Again, it's really, really bright in the camera. It's more subtle without all the lights on. And for this one too, I also spray painted it with a little bit of black and a little bit of white speckling just to make it look more like stone. And overall, I like the way that both of these turned out, especially for the price point. Do they look like perfectly stone ceramic planters that are gonna cost you upwards of $30? Or if you get one with moss in it, I saw one today for $160 and that was on sale for like preserved moss planter. When you could make this for maybe 20 bucks with the preserved moss. So this cost you what, $2 for the vessel and the paint, and then you're gonna need some preserved moss in there. Very much affordable compared to the $160 one I saw. And then the last thing I did was I used that same kind of stone texture on this guy here, and I do think it elevated the look of this plastic cloche just a little bit more and make it look a little bit more high-end than that shiny black plastic that it had. So my plans for these are to possibly turn this into one of those trendy moss terrariums, or moss centerpieces I should say. I have quite a few moss terrariums already started in the apartment, so I don't really need any more of those. This guy, the milk glass dupe, I plan on putting this pretty aloe that my coworker gave me into it. I think the contrast between the roundness of the milk glass and the kind of pointy line structure of this aloe is gonna look really nice. I have a peperomia here that I think I'm gonna put into this guy back here, just because I love the shape and I think they would look nice together. I might get another one of these or another couple of these to really fill it out. And then in the cloche, I might put this small flower arrangement that I found at Aldi in there for springtime and possibly change it out. So I'm really excited about all of these. I think they turned out pretty well. I wasn't as patient as I could have been with the paint and waiting for it to dry either, as you can tell on my hands here. So as long as you're patient and you give a good couple of coats of spray paint, or if you're layering on the paint, then I think that this could be a really good hack to use. So definitely like both of them and would recommend in the future. And they're way more affordable than their designer dupes or the designer version, or even just purchasing the ceramic or the cement version. I hope you guys liked today's video. I'm excited to do a few more Pinterest and TikTok planter hacks on this channel, so stay tuned for those. And don't forget to check out my Instagram to see the plants in the planters themselves. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.